So the law enforcement profession has been under attack like never before over the last 2 years. Ashley and Haley are officers here to talk about their experiences from the front lines here in San Diego.
But first, we are so proud to partner with the National Concealed Carry Association as a 10-ring partner. NCCA exists to serve the Second Amendment community by providing a nationwide network of 2A advocates. They offer elite self-defense and concealed carry training from the nation's top instructors and provide rock-bottom prices on the best selection of gear and accessories. You can learn more about them at nationalconcealedcarryassociation.com. All right, Wendy, do you want to take this one?
Sure. All right, so we're going to chat a little bit with Ashley and Haley if they're done. They're done chewing on their on their donuts here, which looks delicious. I haven't dug into mine yet. So first of all, I want to thank you both for your service.
Thank you.
It
Thank
is
you.
an honor to be here with you guys. So tell me a little bit about your backgrounds. Haley, you mentioned earlier you've been in for 10 years.
Nope, that was her.
that was Ashley. Sorry. So Ashley, you've been in for 10 years. Haley, what about you?
4.
Okay, awesome. So how did you guys always know that you wanted to be a police officer?
No, me no. I'm Mexican and Filipino, so I was expected to do real estate or nursing, and I'm horrible at math, and I can't sit in an office. So for me, this was just kind of a series of life events that kind of led me into people who are essentially our protectors, and that's pretty much how I got here.
Very cool.
Very proud.
What about you, Ashley?
I was always interested in law enforcement, as a child, but I think I was more interested in like the federal side of law enforcement. And then in college, I did a ride along that a professor of mine hooked up for me, and I was just like, wow, like this is awesome. I want to do this.
Do you guys do ride-alongs? Because I would totally do that.
We do, yeah. COVID had restricted it for a while. I think we're starting to open up, so I could find out for you, but it's coming up.
Well, isn't if you go to the police department that you want to do the ride-along, go to their website, and I'm sure there's probably something on the site that says ride-along so that you can, apply and see if you'll be accepted.
Yes, pretty much.
Very cool. I will definitely check that out. So, we've got 2 ladies here, which is very, very cool. And, Melissa and I, as women in the gun industry, we experience a lot of different reactions from people who don't expect us to be women in a male-dominated industry, and I'm sure you see that as well. So tell me about your experiences being women in law enforcement.
It's hard at times. Obviously, you're going to get some pushback. Overall, I get support, I think, from family, coworkers, and the public, but, you're always going to hit bumps in the road, and especially for me, as I'm pretty small. I'm only 5'3", so I think that's a big reason why I always take my training so seriously, because I know that I am at a size and strength disadvantage, so I want to make sure, I'm always going to be able to protect myself and protect the community and my coworkers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is law enforcement kind of like the military? Because, like in the military, no matter what size you are, we've got your back. Do you find that in the police department, or do you catch a little bit of flack from the guys?
So I'll speak to my experience. I haven't had any negative experiences like that, and that's not to say they don't exist. There's other parts of the country where I'm sure that's very true. For me, I didn't grow up with a lot of strong men, or not strong men, just men in general in my family. And so when I started this profession, I was a little bit intimidated about being around men all the time. And we're all type A personalities. So I think my biggest concern was, was my voice going to be heard? Was I going to be seen as an equal? And fortunately, I feel that has been true for me. And I think, though, I think the struggles of female officers throughout the history of this career, the things they went through is not in vain. It's because of what they went through that we get to enjoy that and be part of that big team.
Very well said.
Same with you, birthday girl.
Yeah, I think overall I've had a really great experience, my time as a cop, and I have a lot of respect from everyone I work with, and we all have each other's backs. And
I'm sure it's how you present yourself, too. I mean, if you come across, like you said, serious about training, serious about your job, it almost said the fact that you're a female just kind of blends away.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing about male officers. Like,
Right.
you get male officers, and it's like, if they're, if they're at when the time comes and bullets are flying, and if they're hiding, it doesn't matter if you're man or woman. Like, it's about your mentality,
right,
and your heart.
So that brings me to a good segue. So you mentioned off the air that you spend a significant amount of time training in both, hand-to-hand combat and with firearms, and you have to do all of that out of pocket. And so, tell me, what's your perspective on that? So Haley mentioned that your training department does a really good job providing a lot of well-rounded training, but is that enough, or do you still find that you access to classes like Fieldcraft with Raul, like those just bring it to another level?
I don't think there's ever going to be enough training. I think I am very fortunate that we have so much support with that internally. But yeah, like Ashley has said, and a lot of us have said, there's just really never enough opportunity to keep going for it. And it's really your responsibility as an officer not to just know the laws, not to just know what you can and can't do, but how you're going to get back home to your families and how you're going to get your partners there as well. So the short answer, I can go on forever, is it's a great segue into pushing you to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the law enforcement gets so much of a bad rap right now, and you'll hear people say, well, they just need to be better trained. Well, they just need to be. Okay. I don't think they've ever turned training down. Let's look at these different police departments, see how much training you're doing. Nobody talks about that. Nobody goes and says, well, XYZ police department does no training. I know that's not true, but they do no training, but yet Station B does. I mean, I think, and here again, the teachers union pops into my head. I think the police union should demand that each police department, I mean, you should all train identically. I don't think it should be one versus the other where one department gets more money. We'll use La Jolla, for example. I know La Jolla doesn't have a police department, but, they got more money than Alpine, So I don't know what, I never hear any voices speaking to that to try to get change. Does your unions get involved? I mean, do they try to go to the bat for you guys and girls? Or do we even want to talk about unions?
Without getting any kind of politics involved in it, I would say that there is a lot of conversation going on, and whether or not it's being broadcasted out to the public or not, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think as a general consensus for law enforcement, a lot of us are frustrated with not being able to get access to that type of training and funding, but there's a lot of moving parts to it, and
sure.
I don't know what all the parts are.
Yeah, I mean, without getting political, I know several departments off the top of my head that do no defensive tactics training. Like,
right.
That's awful. Because
it's terrible.
I mean, every week we go hands-on with people. Even if they're not resisting, we have to grab people to put them in handcuffs.
Right.
So, like, what we do the most, we train the least.
Isn't that amazing?
And, like, and one of my favorite quotes is, like, I've never gone into a dangerous situation and thought I had too much training. It's never enough. And, and we're not getting close to what we should be getting.
And that's what makes, my dad was a police officer for 36 years. So I get where you're coming from. And I don't understand it. I hear all this rhetoric about the police department, but yet nobody's giving you the tools to do your job better. It's mind-boggling that conversation, has not come up. It's just crazy.
Well, I want to applaud both of you for going,
absolutely,
taking the initiative to find that training and go put yourself out there to take that extra step to be as well trained as possible. So, changing the topic a little bit, how have you guys seen a change in your jobs over the last year and a half since COVID? Like, have you felt like has it gotten worse? I know enforcement's been different as well. So, what changes have you seen?
I think it's hard to pinpoint what those changes are because there's way too many, and they touch so many different things. So I think just with the pandemic, that was a huge issue on its own, and that affected us with our staffing, with us being concerned about essentially being the only people in our counties on top of other essential workers. We don't want to get sick, because if we get sick, who's going to be out there to help?
Right.
So that was just one thing. And then, everything with the politics and all of that, that was another concern. Is we love our jobs. We love taking care of people. We love what we do. And having that challenged very, very exclusively for as long as it was and still is, I can't think of anyone I work with or know that's in law enforcement that doesn't worry about that at the very forefront. And then on that top of that, during the pandemic, a lot of people, the people that we serve in our communities, have their own struggles, and a lot of trauma has been instilled in a lot of them. So a lot of them resorted to alcohol, drugs, and our calls for service with psychiatric responses, or combining that with drugs and alcohol, things have gotten a lot more violent, and that kind of ties into a lot of the training that we're doing because it's not slowing down.
Wow. Interesting.
Crazy.
So how can we as non-law enforcement help support you guys? Cookies at the police station?
It's when someone says hi to us and says thank you for your service, sometimes I find myself not knowing the right response to say, because we don't hear it a lot, and I don't think we should demand that from people, but that little moment of gratitude and acknowledgement goes a really long way. And that's just a place you could start. And I think it was mentioned in one of the earlier sections about being a good witness, just being really aware of how to help us, the best thing you could do.
Also, stay in the car and be respectful.
Yes.
I think that's number one, if you want my opinion.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.